Okay, good morning and welcome to day 2 of our midterm exam review. And if you are in my class, we will be starting on that second page of the exam review, number 17. So we are going to do the second half where we are going to graph some equations first, and then we are going to work on solving equations on the backside today. Okay, so starting with number 17, let me make sure I have a ruler here. You will probably want a straight edge of some sort. You can use the side of your folder. If you have a ruler, great. But if you don't, just use something that will help you draw a straight edge. Okay, so the first one that we're going to look at is number 17. When you're on the exam and you're looking to graph an equation in slope-intercept form, the first thing that you should look for are the slope and the y-intercept. Now, if you're in my class, we usually like to start with finding the y-intercept or the b. Since this is your notes, you might want to write on that this is the y-intercept. And then we usually find the slope second, which we represent with m. Okay, so our b in this case, so there is no graph. The idea is to make a graph. So our b is the one without the x on it, and that would be -4. And our slope, our m, is the one with the x on it, and so that would be 1/2. Now, this only works to do this because of the fact that it's starting in y equals format. So we can go right away with finding b and m. All right, we're going to start with b, -4. Remember, this is your y line running up and down, so -4 starting at 0 here would be down 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, and you make your first dot. Then, from that dot, we're going to use our slope. Remember, 1 is our rise, and 2 is our run. So from the dot we just made at -4, we are going to rise 1, so up 1, and run 2, 1, 2 to the right, and make a second dot. And then take whatever you have as your straight edge, and you're going to line up those two dots and go edge to edge on the graph, making arrows at the end indicating that goes on forever, and that would be how you graph that equation in slope-intercept form. Now, don't forget that even though I'm not going to do number 19, if you're in my class, 19 has a negative in front of it. What that means is you need to put the negative either with the top or the bottom. We usually start with trying it on the top so that our rise would be going down and right. But if it doesn't fit going down and right, you can put it at the bottom and go up and left instead. Okay, but we're not going to do that one for the sake of time here on the video. The next one I want to take a look at on our packet is number 22 at the bottom. So number 22 is a little bit different because before you can find your slope and your y-intercept, you have to get this equation in slope-intercept form. That means we have to make it say y equals mx plus b. So there's lots of things that are wrong with this to begin with. First of all, it starts with a 10 and then -5 or -5y equals 3x. So what we want to do is begin by canceling out this 10 and getting it over to the other side of the equation. So the opposite of +10 would be -10. So cancel that, and we would write it on the other side. Then we also have to get this -5 out of this side as well because it can only say y equals. So the second step, this means -5 times y, so to undo that, we want to divide by -5. Cancel that out. Now we have to divide everything on this side by -5 and rewrite it. So y equals now 3 divided by -5 gives you a decimal. So because we're going to graph it, we want to leave that slope then a fraction. So we're going to leave it -3/5 x. And then -10 divided by -5 would give us a +2. Now, this is in slope-intercept form, so now we can move on to finding m and b. Again, I like to find b first, and then m, because when I'm graphing it, it's easiest for me to start by putting b on the graph first. So b is positive 2, and m now is negative 3/5. Now, we can put the negative with the top or the bottom depending on how it fits on the graph. So we'll take a look and see if it fits the way we have it. So we're going to start with 2 on our y line, so go up 1, 2. We go up this time because it's positive. And then our rise now is negative 3, so we will go down 1, 2, 3. And our run is positive 5, so we'll go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our next dot. And it fits that way, so we can leave it. If it didn't fit, we would put a negative at the bottom, and then that would have meant that, like this, positive 3 over negative 5. If we had done it that way, we would have gone up 1, 2, 3, and left 5, which also fits on the graph. So either way will work. And we line up our 2 dots with our ruler, draw our line through it with arrows, and that would be our answer. Okay, so that's it for the graphing section. On your exam, if you have my class, those 2 questions will not be multiple choice. They will be on your exam, something similar, where you have to identify slope and y-intercept and then graph them. Okay, last page, and we haven't talked about this in a while, but it will be on our exam, so solving equations. So I'm on the back of the very last page here, and I have highlighted some ones that I want to go over. Let's start with number 1. So number 1 is our basic 2-step equation where we want to get x alone. So 31's already all set, and we want to do the opposite of the other 2 numbers. So we'll start with plus 7. So the opposite of plus 7 would be minus 7. We can cancel. We do that on the other side. So we get 8x equal 24. 31 minus 7 is 24. And then 8x means 8 times x. To undo a times, we divide by 8. To cancel it, divide by 8 over here. We end up with x equal 3. And that's our basic 2-step equation. Now, I'm going to slide us down to number 3, which is another 2-step equation, but this time we have a fraction in it. So again, we're trying to get x alone, so we're going to cancel everything else on the same side of the equal sign. Starting with the plus 2. Opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. Cancel. Minus 2 from the 6. So you get x over 4 equal 4. Okay, remember that a fraction in math means division, so to undo an x divided by 4, we times by 4. So I times by 4 here to cancel it, and I times by 4 over here to get my final answer, x equal 16. And that's my answer. Okay, and so 2 and 4 and 9 and 6, or I'm sorry, 2, 4, 5, and 6 are all similar to those. They're just written sometimes opposite, like number 4. So we go the other way. If it helps you on number 4, you can put your equal sign over here and then negative 4 so that it's facing the right direction. Same thing with 2. But for the sake of the video, I do want to do some examples of some of these more challenging ones, starting with number 7. So number 7 says 6x plus 7 equals 13 plus 7x. So you'll notice the difference here is that you have a variable on both sides of the equation. And so the first thing you want to do is cancel one of those out. Now, in my class, we learned to cancel out the one on the right side first, just to stay consistent. So we're going to cancel the 7x by subtracting 7x, but that means you have to subtract 7x over here. You must subtract it from the 6x, not the 7, because this 7 doesn't have an x on it. All right, so 6x minus 7x is negative 1x. Bring down your plus 7 equal 13. Now you have a 2-step equation again. So 13's safe, and we're going to undo the rest of it. So the opposite of plus 7 would be minus 7. Cancel that. So now you've got negative 1x. Bring that down. 13 minus 7 is going to give us 6. And our last step is to divide out this negative 1. So x equal negative 6. Perfect. Okay. Down to number 9. And then the last one will be number 11. So number 9, we get more complicated as we go, all right? And so number 9, now we've got 1, 2, 3 different x's on here. So what we want to do is look at this. So we've got, if we separate the sides, there's only 1 on this side and a negative 8x, but there's 2 over here. So if you remember, what we did is we first started by combining our like terms. So negative 7x can go with negative 3x. So putting those together, negative 7x minus 3x gives me negative 10x. Bring down plus 2, bring down equals negative 8x minus 8. Now you have a problem similar to the one we just did. You have an x on both sides, so cancel the 1 on the right. The opposite of negative 8x would be plus 8x. Plus 8x to the 10x then. Okay, negative 10x plus 8x gives us negative 2x. Bring down plus 2 equals, and now bring down negative 8. Okay, negative 8 is safe. Let's cancel out our plus 2, so we're going to subtract 2. All right, bring down negative 2x equal, now negative 8 minus 2 is going to give us negative 10, and I ran out of space, so I'm going to write it over here. Negative 2x equal negative 10. Last thing we need to do, negative 2x means negative 2 times x. So to undo that, we will divide by negative 2, cancel it, divide by negative 2 over here to get our answer, negative 10 divided by negative 2, x equal positive 5. Okay, and the last one we'll do together on the video, if you slide down, would be number 11. And the last thing to remember is, what do we do when we have parentheses? So this one is similar to the one above, except for there are parentheses in it. So before we can do any canceling, we need to distribute, okay? So remember, distribute means take the number on the outside of the parentheses and multiply it by each number inside. So we'll do 7 times negative 2x equals negative 14x. 7 times positive 2 equals positive 14. Bring down our equals and our 4x minus 40. Then we have a similar problem as number 7 again. So we're going to start by canceling the x on the right side. So the opposite of 4x would be minus 4x. Cancel it and subtract it from the 14x over here. So negative 14x minus 4x equal negative 18x. Bring down plus 14 equals, and bring down negative 40. Okay, now you have your two-step. Negative 40 is safe. We have to undo negative 18 and the plus 14. We'll start with the plus 14. So we're going to subtract 14, cancel it, subtract it over here. So we get negative 18x equal negative 40 minus 14 is going to give us negative 54. And then the last step, I know this says negative 18, but we're not trying to undo the negative. We are trying to undo negative 18 times x. So what we want to do is divide. Oops. And so what we get when we divide by negative 18, I can fit that in there, cancel it, divide by negative 18, x equal negative 54. Negative divided by negative gives us a positive, and that would be positive 3. And that is the end of what we're going to do. Your job, if you're in my class, is to finish the packet of the ones that we did not do, and hopefully I will get time to post on Google Classroom, post the answers to the entire review, so check there if you need to check your answers. And that exam, you'll be ready to take that midterm exam. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.